Here we go indeed, as we kick things off on Romanticide LE in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. We have the blue Terran player coming out from Poland. He is going to be representing Berserker Esports, one of the most fitting teams, I would say, to match a playstyle like that. He is, of course, souL.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the Russian Terran. He is red, representing Team Litecoin Gaming. It is MilkiCow.
Definitely been a bit of a perpetual underdog throughout the seasons of DreamHack, but just this season, we were actually able to cast it. He got one of his first, I believe his second ever series win in DreamHack Mass's main event here against Hellraiser. And then we weren't quite able to catch this, but just last night, 2 nights ago, if my time zones are adding up, he was able to 2-0 Lambo, of all people. MilkiCow is definitely on the up and up.
I was about to say, like, MilkiCow, he may not be having like the most insane run this season, but he's doing better than Lambo. Oh god, it's just yeah, that's like the craziest thing about Group D is you know, one of the favorites is having a bit of a harder time, and that gives the opportunity for someone like MilkiCow to go even further. As you were saying, like MilkiCow, he's tied with 3 other players. He still has the opportunity. He's tied up with souL, actually, his opponent. The winner of this series is looking poised to make it out of this group, potentially.
Yeah, souL right on the edge of making it out here in the 4th position. About the same series score as Showdown and MilkiCow. Yep, same series score as MilkiCow, just a bit of a different map score. If MilkiCow is able to turn this around, he will be able to overtake souL, but if souL is able to take this, especially if he takes it 2-0, then it's basically assured that he'll make it out. It's just a matter of how well.
Exactly. This match is so important for both of these players. Who is going to come out on top here is the big question. So far, we have some relatively standard openers here. MilkiCow going for a CC on the high ground, playing it a little bit safe.
Yeah, you might as well, especially when you're up against somebody like souL, who's a little bit known for doing exactly this.
I love it. A bunker is being thrown down, so souL can delay this natural base for as long as possible. He hasn't. Oh, actually, he did spot the natural earlier, so he's well aware. And yeah, I love how cheeky he's being right now.
Yeah, I love souL's cheekiness in general. Being very aggressive to Reapers here, MilkiCow forced to take a much more defensive position, opting for Marines instead, so he can, at the very least, clear out what souL's got in his face.
Definitely. It's gonna take a while, but eventually he's looking to break out of this small contain here. Meanwhile, souL opening up with a 1-on-1, looking to go for a bit of a swap, I imagine, with the starport in the factory. Potentially not. Meanwhile, yeah, MilkiCow going for a drop of his own.
And I do like this as a response from MilkiCow. He's being very greedy. He knows he's not going to be able to move across the map anytime soon, so in the meantime, might as well just build up for the next phase, right? Build up for his mid-game, where he'll be able to have 3 CCs much quicker than souL.
That he should.
It's 3 CC before starport in the TVT, mind you.
Exactly. It's not quite as insane as Ziggy because of the opener, but I love this from MilkiCow regardless. Oh my god. Oh.
Reapers force out. Oh, baits a couple of units in position. Hellions chipping away at the Marines. But Marines do find a pretty decent spread. A couple of SCVs being taken out. The bunker should be dealt with. Not quite, but soon.
Oh my god, the bunker survives?
What?
It will burn
As the
down.
the units.
It will burn down in the end, but the cyclone goes down. And souL still has control of the low ground. It means that it's going to be so difficult to resume or to commence mining here for MilkiCow. But as you said, at least he does have that 3rd CC, so he can produce 3 SCVs at a time.
Yeah, he definitely needs that.
God.
To say that the trade has been efficient for souL is a bit of an understatement. Now he's looking to continue to reinforce this with his cyclone. He can kite this for days. He's forcing every single SCV out in the mineral line. Doesn't matter that MilkiCow can remake them quickly. He's not using them to mine.
He is not. Meanwhile, the Reapers actually slip into the main base. More SCVs are going to start falling here. We do have a nice repair, but it is not going to be enough. Marines even going down as well. Thankfully, the tank did survive, so MilkiCow has regained control of his natural, at least. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's a little bit shaky here in the main base. 3 more SCVs go down to the Reapers. This will finally be dealt with. souL does scout the 3rd CC. Now he's got to think, do I want to push and sort of punish his greed, or do I want to just work on my own economy?
And his answer is, let's push, let's go, as he's sending his army across the map. We do see a scan from MilkiCow. He confirms the production, at least for souL. I don't think he quite got eyes on that 3rd base. He did not, but souL is coming across the map with his Raven, looking to get that disable off on the tank.
One good disable is all he really needs. He also wants that Cyclone to stay alive for as long as possible. That is going to be such an important unit to target, either the tank or the Raven, whichever he opts for first. Raven actually providing some high ground here for the tanks of souL.
Yeah, that it is. Forces a cancel on the bunker. Thankfully, we now have 3 defensive tanks here for MilkiCow. It's still going to be very difficult to break this position, even with a Raven. Oh, boy.
It's kind of containing him.
He is.
souL is.
He is. Like, even though MilkiCow went for a faster 3rd base, like, souL is the one with it on location.
To be able to mine from it a lot quicker, even if MilkiCow lifts up and lands right now. Just continue to establish a foothold. The Raven is getting real low, but it will survive, and so will the Cyclone. Again, super important right now for souL. It's his only really reliable source of anti-air.
Oh, God, that it is. That it is. We do have a disable force from both players. Up.
Yeah, who has the better position? The tank will be taken out. Disables will run out from both sides. It looks like MilkiCow is a bit of a better position. Yep, we'll be able to break that tank and force souL back for now, but that 3rd base location is still in a bit of a threat.
Yeah, exactly. In the end, souL does back up 4 now. He wants to regroup with the rest of his army. Still has plenty of tanks to work with, plenty of Ravens as well. What is important is that he did keep them alive. He's looking to try and harass with them. And finally, MilkiCow is going to be landing his 3rd. But souL, man, he's been mining for a while already.
His entire time. Getting the mules in there as well. He's overtaken the SCV count despite MilkiCow's much earlier CC. This is absolute nightmare scenario if you're MilkiCow.
That it is.
Nothing's been going his way.
It's been a rough start, but you know, he is still well in this. He may be behind in workers, but oh my god, I say that as the Ravens come in to harass even more, getting a couple of those SCVs.
In multiple bases too. Denying mining time from 2 separate mineral lines. And even killing the SCVs, targeting the auto turrets while he can.
Exactly, 7 workers do go down, and now in this mirror matchup, souL does have the very solid economic lead here. He could start a 4th base if he wanted to, and there it is. Immediately a 4th base does commence. Even has a sensor tower and some spotter buildings as well, just in case a drop came out.
He has so much money to throw around right now as he just continues to build up. Waiting for the sim to finish up, waiting for a bit more of a Raven count, or not Raven, sorry, Viking count, or a couple of medevacs. And yeah, souL is looking to go for round 2. He doesn't need to. He is the player with the better economy, but he just has so many options because of it.
Yeah, exactly. Now MilkiCow has to be thinking to himself, okay, how do I get back into this game, right? How do I deal with equalizing damage? I mean, you have the option to turtle up at home in the TVT. That's always there for you. Or you can invest into these medevacs, which is what he's doing, looking to try and get some drops off.
Yeah, definitely a big fan of MilkiCow's aggression. And basically every matchup, he will try to go for these drops. It's very taxing on the attention. And so MilkiCow, more often than not, has to execute this perfectly. A single mistake is all it really takes for things to turn to his opponent's favor, but man, when it goes his way, it really goes his way.
It does. Like, it's just going to be so difficult to pull off, just because we have all these sensor towers, we have all these spotter marines and buildings. Like, he wants to go for a drop, but can he pull it off? Can he catch souL unawares?
Definitely not feeling it as souL confirms the army position, goes for a main push instead. Will souL have enough time to reposition? That he will. But the Ravens are still a threat. So are the Vikings, though. A lot of disables on the tanks, but there are plenty more in the back line, and the auto turrets are dealing with just about everything left here for MilkiCow. With the aerial superiority, he's able to hot pick up the Marines as and when he needs to, and even lands the Vikings, because there's nothing left but the tanks. Complete evisceration of MilkiCow's main army. Jesus. Not the end of it yet. He's still building up back home, but to say souL has the lead is, again, a bit of an understatement.
That was a dominant fight, mate. Like, again, those Vikings with the MVPs, they took down every single Raven. Sure, we saw some disables going off, but souL just dominated that engagement, landed the Vikings on the tanks, took everything out, and now he's going across the map. Meanwhile, MilkiCow is going for a desperation move. He's trying to make this job happen, and there are only 2 Medivacs full of Marines. Again, hoping to try and force souL back home, but souL, he's committed to this push.
Indeed, he is not quite committed to that ramp, but he is committed to getting aggression done regardless. There are still reinforcements here for souL, able to deter the drop. MilkiCow gets a little bit of damage here, but is it going to be enough? He's losing a lot of army supply here that really could be utilized in their defense.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we have souL has Medivacs of his own. He does drop here into the natural, finding a way up this ramp. Ooh, a couple of his Vikings are going to get picked off, a little bit overextended.
Yeah, doesn't quite have the aerial superiority he had. Now he's completely lost it. Does have a couple of Liberators looking to get in position, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit tougher now that he has such a limited Viking count.
Exactly, and slowly but surely these tanks are sieging forward, denying mining here at the at the natural base. There's still a lot of Marines here for MilkiCow, though. Maybe he can try and find a way on top of this, but in come the Liberators.
Yeah, they do, and oh, the Viking count has not been remade for MilkiCow. He's got a lot of Marines for anti-air, but souL has plenty of tanks guarding the Liberators from that.
Yeah, exactly, and the tank count was essentially reset there for MilkiCow. He's got a couple more on the way, and thankfully he still has a couple of Vikings, so he was able to force the Liberators to unsiege, but they just come back in.
But now they do, as the Marines jump right forward. Not quite enough tanks on the high ground. A couple of them were even unsieged. So we're able to get right on top of those Liberators. souL has definitely lost his Marine buffer, I was gonna say, but yeah, he still has a couple of Marines guarding the low ground tanks. The friendly fire, though, coming out from souL, will be resetting this tank count.
Ooh, that was a risky move, but yeah, that was a pretty great move right in the end. Like, he was able to force that friendly fire, take out almost every single tank, only 1 tank remaining, and now MilkiCow is able to force souL away. Meanwhile, at the same time, oh, never mind, a 2 Marine drop here at the 4th base is enough to distract souL a little bit, I guess, but at least MilkiCow has survived this push.
That he has. What about round 2, though? As souL will confirm the other 4th base location.
That it will. His army is already rotating towards the north, and meanwhile, MilkiCow is also responding in kind. But again, even though he had some nice moves, forcing some friendly fire, like, his tank count is so low in comparison. Oh my god. So in a head-on engagement, he's still going to be at a bit of a disadvantage. He's also lacking in the Vikings, but I mean, regardless, he's still able to make some moves happen. Oh,
just like so.
Yeah, he pulls away the army. You know, it looks like he wants to rotate over towards the south. He has all these Medivacs, so he could still go for a drop if he so chose to.
He definitely could, but he just wants to make sure he has a lot more than just 60 Marines, it seems. Yep, as he postures around, trying to hit at that 3rd base location. Meanwhile, souL confirms that there ain't an army here. He goes straight for it.
Yeah. Again, the army of MilkiCow is going for a counterattack, but he's just taking so long to get there. Meanwhile, souL is already laying siege to the northern base. The planetary will fall, so will these tanks. And now there's barely anything at home to defend.
Yeah, souL still has this tank, still has nothing in the bunker quite yet, but yeah, the tank line is going to be enough to deter these Marines. Vikings are going to do such a good job of keeping that aerial superiority. souL, he stemmed his reinforcing Marines thinking, I need that to defend. And then he realized, oh, actually, I don't. I can send them across the map and even further put the pressure on MilkiCow.
Yeah, he thought better of it, mate. I love it. Yeah. So realized, you know what? I just need tanks to defend. I don't need these Marines at home. Let's just go. Let's just send it across the map. He still has those Liberators. I mean, the tank count has kind of been rebuilt here from MilkiCow. Maybe he can hold on as long as he sieges up. But oh my god, look at those Liberation Zones!
Yeah, definitely a very big if. The Marines able to get on top of the tanks before they siege up. The Liberators preventing the rest of the tanks from sieging up in position. The aerial superiority is really starting to show its hit here for souL. MilkiCow trying to support that with his Marines, but they get baited into tank lines. GG is called. souL takes game number 1.
Oof. GG, just starving out his opponent. MilkiCow just stuck on 3 bases for so long, he just couldn't get a 4th up and running. Whenever he tried to, it would just go down, and GG.
I mean, we talk about trying to get a 4th up and that not coming into play. I still want to remind everybody, MilkiCow got his third CC at least a full minute before souL. I believe it was like 2 to 3 minutes before souL, and souL's just doing such a good job of preventing any mining from happening despite that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god, I'm reminded of the early game where souL was able to accomplish so much with so little. Remember, like initially with that bunker and his cyclones, able to snipe off tanks and just trade so efficiently against whatever MilkiCow had.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that it snowballed from there, but taking that advantage led to a lot more opportunities for souL throughout the game, and he just went straight for them. He seized them each and every time they presented themselves. Bit of a domino effect here.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. As we're getting ready to dive into game numero 2 here, just waiting for the players to get ready. And hopefully they don't start with you in the player slot.
I can fight for souL's honor, I think.
Can you? Oh god.
What?
Oh, as we may may have some connection issues here, but it's all good. One of the players just accidentally left.
Yeah.
Does happen from time to time.
Indeed, it does.
Oh boy. And again, we'll see how this goes here between these 2 players. We were talking about it earlier, like they are kind of tied up in series score in their groups, right? The winner of this will take that lead. I want to believe that MilkiCow, he can bring this back.
Absolutely. As do I, but against souL, of all people.
I
Bit
hear
of a tough
you, man.
ask.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh god.
As we load into game number 2. Oh my. I just realized what map we're going to be in.
Ooh, let's go.
A lot of opportunities for something a little bit more sneaky. I'm looking at you, souL. I am in fact looking as we spotted. I'm here in the top right-hand corner of the map, all the way in the top right-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres, LE. He is, of course, our blue Terran player representing Berserker Esports, the pressure giver, question mark, the pressure cooker? Something along those lines? He is souL.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres, LE, we have the Russian Terran player. He is red, representing Team Litecoin Gaming. It is MilkiCow. Oh my.
Ooh, bit of a fake out here.
Yeah, I kind of love it. I don't know, like it's very cheeky, but if souL did go for an SCV scout, which at the moment he isn't, then yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's the big if, isn't it?
Yeah.
souL. Typically not one to go for SCV scouting if you can get away with it. Does prefer to go for the Reaper scouts, but he does want to be safe here. He knows it's 2,000 atmospheres.
Yeah, and we'll see how adamant he's going to be with his scouting, if he's going to check the entirety of the base and spot this Rax, or if he's going to be tricked by this, not proxy, pseudo-proxy.
Yeah. I just think he'll be thorough here, hopefully. Ooh, hit boop.
They do boop their heads for a moment. The SCV is going to make it into the main base. He will see that, oh, the Rax isn't here. It's not a part of the ramp. Is he going to panic, or is he going to double check his bases? As I mean, he confirms the factory anyway.
He does. Oh,
yeah.
He was going to turn around, but then he decided, you know what? You don't get a factory at home if you're going to be proxying, now do ya? At least not this quickly. I see you, MilkiCow. I see your fake out, and I raise you Reapers of my own.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice cheeky move here. I mean, it's not like there was a massive investment or anything like that. You know, if it works, then that's a nice, you know, it's a nice lead that he can take and take advantage of. But in the end, souL here confirms that everything's at home.
Yeah, no overreaction coming out from a blue Terran player, and no real disadvantage for a red Terran player either.
Yeah, definitely. The game will just go on. I guess the biggest thing that this will impact is like add-ons, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, gonna be difficult to add-on swap.
Yeah. If he wanted to.
True. Might not even be on the cards for him right now, as souL is going to be a lot more active on the map with his Reapers and Hellions. We saw how effective they could be in the last game. And we're definitely looking to see that continued here.
Oh, definitely. As we do see, okay, we do see this 1-1-1 opening here from MilkiCow. We do still see our starport on the way from this factory. So I imagine we're going to see a swap, and I imagine a Raven first. But again, we could also see a Banshee. Oh, never mind. Focuses on the tank.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Are we feeling a Doom drop? There's a medevac!
Yeah, and we'll see how MilkiCow pulls this off, because I've seen this do so much damage, and I've also seen this fall on his face. As he's looking to be very aggressive.
Also, definitely going to be a lot on how early souL scouts this. In the early game, you don't really have too many spotter units out, too many spotter buildings either, so MilkiCow is able to see this behind enemy lines, far away from where souL has his army positioned. It can get quite a lot of damage done. The concern for me, though, is if it's only a single medevac, that's really not that difficult to deal with, but he is going to be distracting the rest of the army with his Reapers and Hellion.
Yeah, like, this is so risky. Like, I've seen worst case scenario, and that is that the medevac gets picked off by the Cyclone, and everything dies. And that's a medevac and a tank lost this early on, so he has to be so careful. He's boosting on forward.
Cycle's in position!
Ooh, okay.
Oh, okay, doesn't quite go straight into the main base. MilkiCow taking precautions here. Definitely like seeing that. But unfortunately, while the tank is providing a lot of cover here, what is really going in to be covered?
Yeah, that's the real question. Meanwhile, there's no love to buffer for this tank. Auto turret gets thrown down, and souL is collapsing on this.
He is. Oh, Cyclone gets a bit of a lock on, but medevac will be able to disengage that. At the very least, MilkiCow hasn't lost his units, so he can still utilize his tank. He can still utilize what he's got left. Actually, coming in with some Vikings. Oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this. He's dedicated to the aggression.
Yeah, he's doubling down, mate. He's like, yo, let's go. I'm going to make something happen here. And I guess the Raven doesn't have energy for any more auto turret or disable. Ooh, does take a tank shot to the face. And now the tank is still sieging up.
Yeah, it is not much of a buffer again, despite the Vikings providing some aerial superiority. A neat little marine spread. souL really took for souL to chase that away, but the medevac is trying to come in for a bit of sneak attack.
Oh, meanwhile, one of the Vikings does go down, but the drop does go into the natural base, does force some lost mining time, but the medevac will be forced away. Is the Cyclone in position? No, it is not. Drops once again into the main.
Oh, the Raven's so vulnerable, but we will land an auto turret. The medevac is getting pretty low. souL can split up your army here. Doesn't quite have to.
Oh, not quite. MilkiCow just trying to get more and more value here in. Finally comes the Cyclone, does get a lock on, and it does not get the medevac.
What is it about our TVTs tonight, Light, and medevacs fighting tank? Oh, SCVs fighting tanks.
Look, they're great against tanks, mate. What else can I say?
I mean, some of them went down, but okay, if you say so.
Look, at least it wasn't more than that, as now 9 have gone down and the tank is coming back in. Oh god.
Ah, true. If the SCVs didn't fight, then it would have been 11.
As finally that drop does get dealt with at the same time. That's a lot of Vikings, and they opt to land here. We have a Liberator on top of this as well. Oh my god.
Oh. Yeah, again, very dedicated to this aggression. Meanwhile, he's not looking to get a third base whatsoever, though. If MilkiCow is able to deny that third, it will be absolutely huge, but that's definitely a big if. The CVs have a mass repair.
Yeah, exactly. The third base does survive. It looks like this Liberator will go down to the Cyclone. And MilkiCow, buddy, are you going to stick around? Do you really want to risk that? Oh, he does take out one of the Ravens.
That's actually absolutely huge here. As he's setting up for round 2, this time with Stim. Well, I say round 2, it is more like round 5, 6.
Oh, God, exactly.
But it's the first round he has with Stim.
Finally, the upgrades are kicking in here after a very aggressive opener. It's kind of hard to say, like, who came out on top at the end there. Like, there was a big investment, like, tech-wise. Like, a lot of Liberators and tanks went down from MilkiCow. But in the end, he killed 16 SCVs.
Yeah, he's taking a very comfortable lead here when it comes to the SCVs. Able to land his own third base right over there. But I'm just worried about him trading a little inefficiently a couple more times. Turns out we have a full-on base trade, though.
Oh, souL, does he turn around or does he commit? That is the real question. It looks like he turns around.
But it might be a little too late for that. This orbital should be going down. The Vikings are a little bit distracted. The orbital's burning up. Very nice position on top of those tanks while they were distracted with the SCVs. The rest of the SCVs come in to save the orbital. And again, just such an inefficient trade coming out from MilkiCow.
Yeah, I mean, he forced a lot of lost mining time, I guess, but oh, every single tank, every single Viking goes down. And now souL can finally go for that attack that he was waiting for. But an important thing that did happen there is that souL did lose his Raven.
He did. It's going to be a lot more difficult moving into siege lines. Well, if the siege line really existed, souL has been doing a very good job of resetting the tank count each and every time. MilkiCow is going to turn around. It's going to be a better army here.
God.
If he can get this around.
Yeah, that he does. Ooh, nice tank shots, nice tank volleys. Meanwhile, the medevac just barely survives.
And the Marines are looking to push on forward for some harassment damage. souL maintaining a bit of an aerial superiority here, but it really doesn't take many Vikings from MilkiCow to reestablish air superiority.
Meanwhile, a bit of a drop is going across the map, but there's a tank. There are a handful of Marines here to defend. This shouldn't get too much damage, but he's sneaking into the mineral line. Oh, we'll get some more SCVs.
Yeah. Gonna be able to get those SCVs away back into safety of the tanks, but now the base itself is looking to be in a lot of trouble. Vikings have kind of been untouched so far from souL, but here come the rest of MilkiCow's air army.
Yeah, exactly. Liberators do show up. They do take out one of these tanks, force and unsiege, but now the Marines are steaming forward.
Yeah, those tanks from souL were able to siege up just in time to take out those Marines. Liberators will finally be dealt with. But a siege line is still here. MilkiCow, or souL rather, still has his foothold. MilkiCow relying a lot on this one Liberator to push him back.
Exactly, but finally we have a lock on. The Cyclone will clean up this Liberator, but the Liberator will just barely get another tank for its troubles. Meanwhile, the drop comes back in. This medevac with 2 HP has done so much for MilkiCow.
souL taking a bit of a half measure, not making sure that the medevac was taken out, but yeah, the drop has definitely been dealt with as the rest of souL's reinforcements come in. His position, though, is significantly weaker than it once was.
That it is. Doesn't have those Liberators that he once had. Meanwhile, oh god, being outpositioned a little bit by those tanks. Meanwhile, that Liberator, I was wondering where it was. It actually went to harass the mineral line.
Huh. Well, a little bit of tit for tat as souL slowly closes the worker gap.
Yeah, and mate, 9 kills, that's nothing to scoff at. Like, that was a lot of kills to that Liberator.
Really is not, but meanwhile, that tank is looking very vulnerable. But it was a bit of a trap to lure out the rest of the Marines. Not enough of a buffer remaining, though, for souL. And finally, MilkiCow will be able to break away from this, even establishes a 4th base.
Yeah, souL picked the wrong moment there to unsiege 2 of his tanks, and MilkiCow, he noticed that he took that opportunity to finally pounce on top of that army, break that siege position, and now he can get his 4th up and running. And souL, he's still stuck on 3 bases, and oh god, he only just now started his 4th! Yeah,
we're definitely getting a much different, we're definitely getting a bit of a dynamic switch here. In game number 2. Game number 1, where souL was able to run away with his economy just because of the pressure he was able to apply on MilkiCow. This time, quite the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Like MilkiCow, the longer this goes on, the better it is for him. Due to his economy, he already has 3-3 on the way. 2-2 only just now started for souL. He's behind the economy, behind the upgrades. Oh god, like it's gonna be now or never for him.
It's going to depend a lot on this attack. The Marines are stepping forward to try to deal with the Liberators as they do get dealt with, and so do a surprising amount of MilkiCow's tanks. Was it worth it though? I mean, he's only lost Marines so far. Maybe.
Oh god, but a couple more medevacs get picked off. At the same time, we do have a bit of a drop here. 7 SCVs go down. Nice moves by souL. At the same time, another drop, another double drop into the natural base of of souL, and oh god, these are just losses that he can't really afford.
That he really cannot.
Mate.
Important to keep in mind, MilkiCow is so far in the upgrades as well. It's taking a lot more shots than it should to kill his Marines.
Exactly. Finally, the job gets dealt with. Meanwhile, this siege line is a little bit undefended, but there's not enough here for MilkiCow to really press his advantage and pounce on top of them. He does back off, and souL finally can attempt to land his 4th.
And he can. It's not quite enough army there for MilkiCow to push through, but there was enough damage dealt for MilkiCow to feel safe enough to push away.
Yeah, exactly. And now souL, he's in a really rough place, right? Like, he needs time to stabilize. He needs time to catch up. How does he do that? He's going to go for some more drops. And to be fair, there are some weaknesses in the defenses of MilkiCow. That's why, like, this harassment has been doing a surprising amount of damage. He just needs it to, like, keep MilkiCow busy and buy some more time.
Time that MilkiCow is not looking to give him. We'll see if the drop changes his mind. So you get a little bit of vision around, and he is kind of twitching a bit with his army.
I mean, MilkiCow, he still hasn't seen the 4th. He continues to scan this location here towards the north, and then he hasn't checked over here towards the right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, he does rotate over. At the same time, the drop is finally hitting him in his natural. Any response?
It is. The upgrades are about even for a little while. MilkiCow wants to go for the full-on base trade, but souL's already setting up in that position.
Oh god, that he is again. He hesitated for a while there, and that allowed souL to reposition his own army to be here just in time to defend.
Marines support before the Marines of MilkiCow can, but again, an absolute bloodbath for now. MilkiCow of the air superiority, though, will be able to land his Vikings in a complete cleanup, I wanted to say, but it was really just cleanup of the bio and the medevacs.
Yeah, meanwhile, we have another drop here at the 3rd base. Again, this drop was not cleaned up earlier. The Raven is going to get picked up as well. Again, souL making some moves happen. Meanwhile, there are no Marines remaining here for MilkiCow, so it's really difficult for him to just keep the pressure up.
It absolutely is. His aerial superiority will allow him to edge his way forward with the tanks, but oh, souL! Losing a lot of Marines, but will be able to break free from there. Doesn't have to worry about that position for too much longer. His attention now solely on his drop.
And he keeps just coming in, mate. Like, this drop, like, I knew that it was going to deal some damage, but it's done more than I ever expected. It's insane. And now souL, he has been able to defend. He's catching up. 3-3s on the way. He's still at the upgrade disadvantage, but again, like, he's slowly closing that gap.
He is, as he just continues to buy himself more and more time. The army completely out of position to defend against the drop now for MilkiCow. Doesn't quite have high-sec auto-tracking, so those Marines were able to seek out a couple of SCV kills. Who will react first? Thankfully for MilkiCow, he does already have a siege-up tank.
Fun fact, this is the only tank that MilkiCow has. Tank count has now resumed, but he slipped up his macro a little bit there. You know, he only has 1 remaining, but it may not matter. Man with gun, maybe all you need is trying to get on top of the army of souL.
And he just about will! Taking out so many tanks behind all of that. Such a good move, getting Corvette reactors as early as he did. The Marines have started concave in to the tank. A lot of tank shots are being thrown down. Who is winning this fight? It's hard to say.
The Vikings landed. That was just enough to take down the final tank there of souL, but MilkiCow doesn't have enough to snowball. Once again, souL barely holds on.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the pattern throughout this game so far is that MilkiCow has a much better economy. He has been able to produce a lot more efficiently. He's been able to get his upgrades on time. But when it comes to the actual engagement, souL is able to trade so efficiently that
Mm-hmm.
MilkiCow just can't quite go for the throat.
Exactly. He's trying. He's trying desperately to. He knows the advantage that he has, but he just can't find a way in. What I will say is that he's been building a lot of Ravens. The Ravens will definitely change the battle here, as all the tanks are actually getting picked off.
Yeah, a little bit on siege for a second there. Decent position for the tanks at Concave, but as you were saying, the auto turrets drew the attention away from the Marines for a little bit too long. Got their DPS in. But now souL is breaking through.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? The tank count was once again reset here. I have MilkiCow. He's trying to switch into Mass Raven. We'll see if that works out for him. Again, you can't neglect that ground army. As, hey, there we go. The upgrades. They're tying up. 3-3. It's going to finish.
That it will. It's like souL with the much better Marine count to take advantage of that. MilkiCow's Ravens still have plenty of energy on them, so that's a lot of auto turrets, a lot of anti-armor missiles that can be thrown down.
Definitely, definitely. Oh god. And that Raven production is not stopping, by the way. Like, that is like the late game TVT that you want to get into. You want to get into that Mass Raven. You want to get into that Corvid reactor. And oh, the armies are missing each other here.
Base trade, let's go. I have to say who I really favor here. souL has a lot of tanks, but none of them are in a defensive position.
Oh my god.
Give that away, going for straight for the Doom drop. But is it going to be worth it? The reinforcements.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't commit. There was an army ready and waiting in the main base of MilkiCow. Meanwhile, the main base of souL is forfeit. There are a handful of Marines, but it's not going to be enough to hold on. MilkiCow will take down the production here of souL, and souL can't get in.
GG. MilkiCow is going to be tying up the series sideways 1-1.
Wow.
Fantastic watching him fight back as hard as he did.
Oh my god. I was hoping that the comeback was real. Like, souL was down for so long that game. I thought he could make it happen, and he almost did. In the end, it came down to a base trade, and we saw MilkiCow. He had a decent army in his main, and souL did not.
Yeah, unfortunately. He had a lot of Marines, which maybe could have tried to get a concave as the Marines of MilkiCow were pushing up the ramp before the tanks were able to siege up, but yeah, in the end, MilkiCow definitely had a better defensive line.
Yeah, that he did. He also initiated the base trade a little bit sooner as well. So he was able to just, be a little bit more decisive in that respect. He was also the player who was able to take up to Ravens a lot faster. And in that late game scenario, in that base trade scenario, like, energy-based units just matter so much more.
Absolutely do. No matter what race you're playing. Okay. We're going to be getting into our ace match here, and this is going to be a map that's generally seen as Terran favored. What's going to happen in TVT then?
That's the question, right? Like, because so it's gonna go one of two ways, right? Like, the rush distance by ground is really short, so we could see some more aggressive plays from these players on Blackburn, but at the same time, I have seen this map be split in half pretty quickly, and then we're stuck in that kind of scenario as well. Oh boy.
Them siege lines, I see it so clearly.
Yeah,
I guess that's going to depend on. As it will depend on which opening either of our players go for, and if this series is any indication, they are both very willing to try to get an early lead and try to get an early snowball with some very, I don't want to call them cheesy, but very aggressive, very pressure-based openings.
Definitely. I have to assume that, like, souL's style may be a little bit stronger on this map, where we saw that he was just doing so much off of 2 bases last game. Like, again, his 3 bases. His 4th was so delayed in comparison. He was trying to force the issue, and on a map like Blackburn, he can find a little bit more success.
That he can, as our players are ready, our casters are ready, our referees are ready. It's just time for you, the viewers, to be ready to conclude this TVT.
Oh, That it is, as this is the ace match. And again, I love that the series went to the ace match. We were talking about it. These two players, they had tied up in series score in their groups. The winner of this will really start defining who is able to make it out in that top 4 and who will not.
Yeah, actually. Even if souL wins this, then will look a little bit shaky.
Definitely.
Who else is looking? Showdown can definitely pull something off and take that spot just because the series has been tied up 1-1.
Definitely. Oh boy. These next couple of series here, especially in this group, is going to be intense as we're diving in to the ace match.
That we are here on Blackburn LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have our red Terran player coming down from the land of Russia. Currently the best Terran player from Russia? I'm trying to remember. If there's anyone I'm missing. I mean, it's a big country.
Vanya, what are you on about?
I said Terran player.
Terran. Oh.
Yeah.
True.
He is going to be representing Litecoin Gaming, having a much better season so far. Let's hope he is able to make it even better. He is MilkiCow.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the Polish Terran. He is blue, representing Team Berserker Esports. It is souL. Oh. And this
already a good sign. No proxy Raxes.
Yeah.
Oh, but MilkiCow!
Let's go! MilkiCow opening up with a 2-Rax. No proxy, but still very aggressive opener.
It is aggressive, but has the potential to transition to something a bit more economic based.
Yeah, exactly.
MilkiCow's not entirely looking to be economic, no, as he completely blocks off his ramp. No scouting whatsoever.
Exactly. Meanwhile, he's going for his own scout just to make sure the same isn't being done to him, which would be a very interesting start to game number 3, to say the least. But we do have things opening up pretty standard here for souL. Again, MilkiCow looking to deal some damage here with these Reapers, and souL opting not to go for that SCV scout.
Yeah, definitely taking a lot of chances here, relying a lot more on the Reapers. Looks like he is anticipating MilkiCow to be a little bit more aggressive, though, as he keeps them at home, or close enough vicinity to home.
Yeah, he's checking around his bases, so he's going to be a little bit in the dark. That does mean that this Reaper count is going to slowly bank up, as long as he doesn't lose any early on. So both players do go for their expansions.
Yeah, the last thing MilkiCow really wants to do is trickle in Reapers.
Yeah, it's true. You don't want to trickle them in. He has to be careful. As again, souL, he's just staying at home. He didn't even try and scout with his Reaper. It's done with it, mate. All right, here we go.
Yeah,
now
he's waiting for the Hellions to get out.
Now I'm sure he's feeling a little more confident moving out, not being caught out by an overwhelming amount of those Reapers. But again, just focusing on his defense, keeping his natural safe.
Yeah, something is off right now in souL's mind. He's thinking, where are your Reapers, my guy? Why aren't you scouting me? So he's waiting for this very moment.
That he is. Meanwhile, we do only have 3 Reapers out here for MilkiCow. Can they get something done? I mean, they can sneak into the main base at least, and the army is here to respond. Is it going to be fast enough? It is spotted, and yep, souL.
3 Hellions!
Oh.
This is not something MilkiCow can fight. Gets a bit of a delay from the attack on the Hellions, so yeah, he's able to keep 2 of his Reapers alive, but that was definitely frightening.
It really was, and with this opener, like, MilkiCow hasn't really been able to achieve much here at all with these Reapers. He wasn't able to delay the natural, he wasn't able to force a reaction of any kind, and now souL, he's looking to dive into the main.
Doesn't get much scouting done. But it's really important, as MilkiCow is delaying his starport for a much quicker stim. There's that tech lab on the factory. You see a very quick stim tank timing.
Yeah, that we are, and also delaying that starport for a much faster third base, as the third CC is already halfway completed here for MilkiCow, focusing a lot more on his economy. As you were saying, you still can push out here with these Marines, you know, get a medevac out as well. But yeah, at the moment, souL is working with no information. He hasn't seen anything. I'm looking at his vision, like just nothing at all. Oh my god.
Well, sometimes you just have a bit of a gut feeling, don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
feel it in your soul.
God damn it. But I could make it the whole day without puns. No, apparently not. Apparently not. Oh god.
That happen sometime. Be glad it was me.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna get it much more later on with Milk. As souL did dip in with his Raven, he actually spotted the third CC, so he's well aware of what the opener is. Now he has the information that he needs, knows that his opponent's being a little bit more greedy, a little bit more economic focused.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued with MilkiCow's 3cc before starport builds. One of the only Terran players who I think I've seen do consistently in TBT.
I'm Ziggy tried it, if you remember.
Well, yeah, I mean...
That's Ziggy, you know. Meanwhile, it looks like, the tanks of MilkiCow are going to go down. A really unfortunate scenario or situation to fight in on the low ground. Oh my god.
Yeah, those auto turrets really chipping in. Running a lot more DPS. Will souL be able to break through? Very debatable. As the Ravens are in a lot of trouble with the Vikings in the sky. Nothing can really go up that ramp, not with a tank and a bunker.
Yeah, exactly, man. I can't believe that Raven survived, by the way. It's got 12 HP. Meanwhile, MilkiCow is trying to land his third base. He does move down to the low ground.
But was that a bit of a mistake? He completely gives up that high ground advantage, and souL picks off another tank just like that.
Yeah, 2 times now. Like, MilkiCow, you have the high ground, but he just keeps trying to fight on the low ground in these open spaces and just giving up that otherwise advantage that he would have.
I'm starting to fight back a little bit. I will say, though, that the third base has been untouched. We'll see how much that changes as souL gets more reinforcements in, though.
I'm worried, man. He's pulling a couple of boys. He wants to break this position. Pulls down into 3 tanks.
Oh, no. The split was just a little bit inefficient. And with that, souL is absolutely able to snowball. Maybe doesn't quite want to go up that ramp yet. But with his tank count still intact, he can chip away at that, force a bunch of repairs, really dip into the economy of MilkiCow. Despite that third base again.
I'm in shock at what just happened, by the way. He just keeps trying to push down this ramp, and as a result, his tank count has been reset. Finally, we have another one on the way. He actually had started Widowmine production, which is why we don't have another follow-up tank. And this bunker is going to go down. The repairs weren't there in time.
And the repairs weren't there in time. The minerals weren't there for the repair. So yeah, unfortunate turn of events here for our red Terran player. souL looking to land his own third base. MilkiCow looking to prevent that with a drop, but again, just leaving that just leaves his natural so exposed.
Yeah, his natural's exposed, his third base is exposed as well. The drop is heading across the map. Maybe it can cause something to happen, but we have missile turrets and Vikings waiting for it.
Along with that slow zone. Medevac boost is trying to be utilized, and okay, I was hoping MilkiCow would be able to pick up a Viking or two, just dip a little bit into souL's aerial superiority, but souL is on top of the micro.
God, that he is, and now it looks like the third base will go down. The Vikings are here. It doesn't just get denied, it does fall in the end, and now MilkiCow is stuck on 2 bases.
souL on a fairly solid 3. I say that as the drop lands. The medevac is taken out. The reinforcements are dealing with the rest of the Marines. 9 SCVs get taken out, but it still just leaves souL on even workers and more bases.
Exactly. Meanwhile, now this could be his last try. He takes a lot of tank shots though, but he does take control of the skies.
This is the moment MilkiCow's been waiting for as he built up his Marine count. Manages to catch souL on siege, and finally he will break through. Without a third base though.
That's the.
He needs to find some way to equalize.
That's the thing, right? We don't have a backup third on the way. Like okay, there we go. It's gonna go down on location. I don't blame him. But he needs to make something else happen here. He can't let souL get away with this economy.
That he cannot. He's looking to push forward, making sure that all of his units are grouped together. souL is looking to tech up a lot more, you know, get his upgrades in order, make sure he has his combat shield. So a little bit behind in that respect, but to be fair, he has had his attention split, to say the least.
He definitely has. But now he is focused, he's across the map. If he does push on forward, he will be spotted by souL. souL, he has his own defensive tanks, he's got a sensor tower as well, so whenever the army edges closer, he will be able to respond. Scans confirms that the third is on the way. There's no 2-base all in.
And he knows that it is going to be a bit of a long distance siege at that. Oh, giving up a lot of aerial superiority here. souL is, but he does maintain a higher Viking count. Has to be careful though, especially if he wants to get some liberators in.
That he does. Meanwhile, souL even getting a 4th on the way. Because why the hell not? Oh,
that's
boy.
just grabbing on the gold.
Yeah,
Insult
exactly.
to injury.
Oh my god, meanwhile he catches the tank.
Almost catches the tank, forces siege on the high ground, but he does get that siege up and running. The Marines are being shredded from both sides, but souL, with his defender's advantage, with his aerial superiority, will be able to chase this down, take out everything that remains.
Yeah, exactly. What a decisive move there by souL, immediately picking up his Marines, going for those tanks, forces MilkiCow all the way back home. And what does he have to defend? He has a lot of medevacs, I will give him that, but at the moment he only has 1 tank. The second is still in production, and souL, mate, he's coming across the map once again.
He is finally looking to end this. With a doom drop, no less. Completely avoiding that ramp.
Oh god, that he is. He dives into the main base, sieges up his tanks. Oh my god, MilkiCow is gonna try and force his way in, but he can't do it. There's just too much DPS here.
Yeah, SimCity actually working against MilkiCow's favor here. As the Marines continue to bunch up, the tanks are shelling away at every single production building. GG is called. souL will take game number 3.